Hi there, it's Polly here. Whee! And it's a 40-degree day here in Perth, so margarita time. Haha. But I wanted to share a joy with you. So many years ago, a hilarious comedy game came out called Kobolds Ate My Baby, or, due to the Australian reference, and if you've seen the dreadful movie, Kobolds Ate My Baby, a new edition has come out. Now, I have actually got the hard copy kind of winging itself, on the way. I backed the Kickstarter, but they sent me the electronic version, and I actually loved it so much, I just wanted to share it with you immediately. Kobolds Ate My Baby is one of the true comedic classics of the role-playing genre. It's an absolute riot. The artwork is gorgeous, and the whole thing is just this chaotic presence. This is a fantastic convention game, by the way, and I've run live actions of this, which have been just a joy. So, kobolds. Kobolds are a little orange-furred, dog-like creature, because if it's good enough for Gygax, it's good enough for them. They're one of the sentient races in D&D. There's an asterisk in the rules at that point that directs you to a footnote that says sentient meaning anything more self-aware than celery. And yes, their version of them, which are adorable, have great big kind of wide heads full of grinning teeth, and they're just full of enormous fun. And they're very much the way I always conceived of kobolds. Chaotic, comedic, crazy, carnivorous, and kind of a hellish blend of Jawas and Ewoks and, labyrinth goblins and just, absolutely goony-goo crazy. So, the premise is you're a kobold. Now, kobolds in D&D, as you might recall, they're 1d4 hit points, which means they have a substantial chance of being beaten to death by a chicken, which is around about the same hit points and does like 1 or 2 points of pecking damage. And, a house cat can really beat the shit out of one. But, you are a kobold. There is the caves, TM, and they put trademarks all through this, which is great. Now, the umpire in this, by the way, is called the Mayor, TM. So he's the TM. Fair enough. Now, when you're running a game, by the way, they sort of say, good, people kind of like playing, they don't like running the game. So you can either, maybe someone's got an inspired idea for a scenario, in which case you do it. Otherwise, everyone sit down and play fisties for it, or roll dice, or not he, what? If someone just says, not he, or what? Where's the last one? Damn, they're running the game. But some great scenario generators are in there. Tons and tons of charts. So you are playing a kobold. Now, the kobolds are living in these caves, and they are ruled by a mighty ruler. Yay, he sits upon the chicken bone throne, and he is King TORG. All hail King TORG. Now, every time King TORG is mentioned, all hail King TORG, all the players must stand up and all say, all hail King TORG! All hail King TORG. And if it's not done with enough enthusiasm, they get a kobold death check on their character sheet. And again, the rules are beautifully written, and as it starts to mention this sort of stuff, there'll be what's a death check, you may ask? Well, look, be patient. We'll get to it on page 36. These are very small rules. And as it'll go on, diddly-doo, or this will cause a death check. Says, wait, where are the death checks? What? Just hold your horses there. Come on, we're getting to them. 18 pages to go before you hear about death checks. And yes, they just keep on stringing it on until you get there. But making a kobold is pretty simple. They say, what? Most games have numerical stats where you roll up different things, and it's too bad. Kobolds can't count, and they're not really kind of up to any sort of maths, and neither should you be. So you can essentially, to make a kobold, everything runs off a D6. The whole system runs off a D6, and you've got your kobold character sheet, which are downloadable, but they've got a QR code actually in the game. You can scan it and just get a character sheet downloaded, which is very cool. But everything runs off a D6, so what you do is you decide on your dice style. There are different styles you can choose from, which is the class of your character. Those classes include the D6, the 6-sided dice, the 6-sider, the regular 6-sider, the 6-sider of death, etc. It's all just different D6s you roll, and each one has a page roll up about, take this of your character that likes to run around yapping a lot and pretty fast with your feet. You like to really mix it in and do stuff. You're not that great with fighting, but you'll give it a go anyway. Wait, that's every single kobold. Yeah, they're all pretty much like that. I will say they do each have a little thing that you can argue that you're good at on each of these things. So then you roll for your kobold job. Now, one thing they're really good at with this is they have like simple charts and difficult charts and whatever. So there is a simple chart, which is the kind of job that your kobold does. You roll a couple of dice and go to the page, and it will tell you, this is what you get. This is your starting gear. This is what you kind of have an advantage at. You are good at, running away. You're good at cooking. You're good at being cute and adorable. These sorts of things. Or there's a way more complex chart that's got a lot of crazier jobs that your character can hold down. So it's up to you. If you want like the kind of run-of-the-mill ones, I'm a cleric-y thing, I'm a magic user-y thing, I'm a thiefy sort of thing, I'm a crazed worshipper of their war god, etc. Fine. And the bigger chart, the one will come out with rubbish collectors and alchemists and dragon-related cosplayers, which are ones that kind of try and dress up like dragons, so that because it makes them feel that they've got more of an important niche in the world. Were chickens. And that sort of thing, which is just fantastic. You also roll to see what gear you've got, and basically you roll to see what you've got in each hand. And that can include MacGuffins, which are things designed to help the plot move along. So, yeah, I love it. Now, the kobolds have a god, Vor, the war god, and, the god of wrath and anger. And this was a god that basically overslept when gods were having their jobs handed out. And he turned up late and found the only thing left was to be god of the kobolds. And he got into such an incandescent rage about this that he actually outraged the actual god of anger, who then disappeared, because to be the god of anger, you've got to be the angriest, and nothing can make you more angry than being the god of the kobolds. So this guy subsequently tried like casting random death and fireballs down on these kobolds and so on, and thinking, maybe he'll do enough damage that he'll cause sort of an extinction event and he doesn't have to deal with these guys anymore. Instead, kind of what he's done is he's trained them to just have no fear. Yes, the kobolds that exist now really don't care about death. They don't really care. They haven't really got the intellectual capacity to care about anything. They run, they laugh, they eat everything, which is why they've got such big mouths. And But if your character dies, and it's probably going to, you're probably going to run several during the course of a single adventure, they've got kind of a genetic memory, which just passes on. And so it's kind of one of the reasons they don't care. They're not quite a hive mind, but it does kind of pass on. So if your kobold dies, the next kobold you roll somehow has memories from the last kobold. And so do other people. They kind of get that too. So it's just crazy. You will get missions. Now, you can get missions from King Torg. All hail King Torg! And he wants to eat. He wants, probably about 13 meals a day, second, third, and 15th breakfasts. So you are sent out to get stuff. That is the simple level kind of crazy generator. And, of course, one of the things that is a kobold delicacy is baby. Kobolds Ate My Baby. Go and steal human babies. And try and eat them. Trouble is, babies can be almost as big as you are, so it can take a couple of you to carry them off. And some of those bastards can hit you with a rattle, and they can just cause trouble. And if you store babies wrong, things can go bad with the babies. There is a baby mishap chart. If you try just stuffing them in a sack and dragging them upstairs or something, the baby could go off. And it can literally go off. Sometimes it wasn't actually a baby. It might have been a bomb. Plus, to get these, you've got to go into a village, and that village has got things like dogs in it and cats in it and chickens. There's also a couple of wizards that hire kobolds, and because they're kind of like really cheap labor. They're chaotic labor, but if you want a widget found, a MacGuffin sort, somewhere place mapped or whatever, you can probably send a bunch of kobolds out to do it, and maybe the job will get done. But hey, all it really costs you is 20 pounds of sausages and some pumpkins, and they're in it. But kobolds will have a try at eating virtually anything, and they'll try eating chicken, sausages, pumpkins, plants, potato leaves, crockery. They'll try taking a chunk out of the table. They only really eat the organic stuff. They'll have a go at anything. So you have to kind of cast a spell which is make unpalatable to kobolds. Otherwise, they'll just start kind of gnawing on everything in your wizard's keep, and then you're screwed. So into this chaos comes these marvelous wacky adventures, and of course you are running about doing stuff left, right, and center, and their whole thing is play your kobold character like you stole it. If you're not taking death checks all the time, then you're not playing it right. If your kobold dies, the player keeps the victory points that kobold has earned, does a new kobold, which is a fairly quick process, eats some snacks and jumps back into play. But you keep the victory points that you've earned. So losing a kobold doesn't kind of lose you the game if you've got a scenario that's got victory points, which many of them do. You're not allowed back into the caves without so many victory points, or the wizard won't pay you until you get so many victory points, etc. There are fantastic little random generators all the way through this for generating, as I said, what your gear is, what sort of kobold you've got, what sort of jobs you have, what sort of widgets you're carrying in each hand, lots and lots and lots of crazy adventure generators, random generators for fighting things, doing things, finding things. Great stuff. So the system itself, it's D6 run. Now, to add to the chaos, so you've got basically all dice are rolled by the player. So, the umpire's not killing you, you're killing you. You roll if you want stuff to happen, if you're actively doing things. I'm going to try and parkour off these walls. I'm going to try and sneak past this guard dog and get the baby. I'm going to try and I'm going to see if I can fit a whole pumpkin in my mouth. You roll, and the umpire decides what kind of roll it is, and it can be, eats, beats, meets, feats. Eats is anything to do with the head. So it's like thinking or someone trying to control your mind, these sorts of things. So you're rolling against eats. Meats is anything that's kind of fortitude, trying not to be poisoned, trying to stomach someone else's cooking, trying to avoid being knocked out from something. Feats is something to do with movement and so on. I'm trying to sneak, I'm trying to run, I'm trying to hide, I'm trying to leap across this mighty, leap from one kitchen table to another, etc. And beats is I'm trying to beat something up, I'm trying to do something physical. And each of these has a D6 band at which they're successful, and that will be somewhere between 2, 3, and 4, to be successful. More or less, depending on whatever you are. You can have advantage in something, which means you roll twice and take the best, and you can have you can also have disadvantage, roll twice, and take the worst. But your character can argue that you have a specialty in something, which allows you to roll twice and take the first. So, for instance, if your character, you've rolled up and you are a alchemist or something, it might tell you that you actually have, like, advantage in swilling down ridiculous potions or something because, you're kind of inured to it. Or, if you're a mighty worshipper of war or something, you might actually be able to, understand something about religions or what have you. Each character rolls a d6. That is the number of human words they understand. You write down what human words you can say and understand. Food, run, hello, baby, these sorts of things, just in case you have to communicate. Now, you roll one dice. If it falls within that little band, you are successful. If you roll a 6, whee! That's a kind of a super kobold win. You've actually done it, but you've done it with enormous style. If you roll a 1, that's a failure. Always a failure, but you can cheat. If you roll 1 and fail, you can do a kobold cheat. You can try and explain to the umpire how you are cheating to somehow get this. It very often costs you a death check to do it, but that's probably okay. So and it just encourages you to basically liven this the hell up. But the other thing is, you can also bark like a kobold. If you fail any dice roll, you can attempt to bark like a kobold and re-roll it, but you've got to take the new score that you roll. So if you fail the second time, fine. But barking like a kobold, you've got to make kobold noises. However it takes you, but you have to be kind of louder and more koboldy, convincingly koboldy, than the last person who attempted to bark. And the umpire, the mayor TM, the TM gets to judge whether you put in enough effort or not. So this game is immensely disruptive to play if there's other people kind of playing games next to you. As everyone leaps up and shouts, all hail King Torg, and people, etc., as they're rolling dice. So you can re-roll, re-roll. Finally, the death checks. So you've got a list of little kind of skulls on your character sheet. Every time you take a death check, you check one off. You then roll 2d6. You add your number of death checks to it. And essentially, if you get more than 12, then you have to roll on the death table. You will probably die, but there are multiple death tables. Now, some of them are just mean outright deaths, and that's fine. However, there's a very complex one, and I really suggest you use that one, because that one's got outs where, the kobolds don't die. But they can kind of chuff that death onto someone else. They do a dive and roll and it hits somebody else, or some major disaster happens, or something cute happens, or instead they get hold of something important and run off with it, or some kind of major disaster happens, but hey, what do the kobolds care? They still stole the cookies. So the complex table, I think, gives you a lot more kind of fun and mayhem, and that's the whole game. Fun and mayhem. The artwork is just stunningly beautiful. It's full of kobolds up to hijinks, and kobolds dressed in kind of paper mache dragon outfits with wings on pulleys attempting to fly off cliffs, and kobolds ignoring things marked as traps because kobolds can't read, and it spreads the whole mayhem and mirth. Is it a good game? Hell yeah, it's a good game. It is fast, ferocious, funny, absolute gut wrencher of a game. Just absolutely hilarious. You can play entire campaigns of it. I have. We've had the time of our lives playing this thing. Is it difficult to run as an umpire? Hell no, because you can come up with a relatively simple idea. King Torg, all hail to King Torg, is hungry and has sent you guys off. You got to find the best food for him that you can, but you got to be back before lunchtime, because if you're not back before lunchtime, when you come back, he's going to eat you. And you got to try and prepare the best meal for him. So you got like 3 hours. Go. So everyone's kind of competing to find something cool and bring it back, or maybe they can bring it back as a group, but they'll be tripping each other up. They'll be doing things. Someone will try thieving chickens, but ooh, then we'll see that baby. Some will see that egg, and that egg is great because they found the mighty egg recipe in the wizard's lab, but they don't realize it's a dragon's egg, so now there's a dragon after them. That level of total insanity is just what makes the game. So look, it costs virtually nothing. The PDF of the new Orange Book edition. This is the new one, the Orange Book edition. So the PDFs just come out through the Kickstarter. The solid, hard copies are in the mail, which means this little sucker's going to be up on drive-thru and all that sort of thing. So I will put links to it as and when. So difference between this and the old editions. Is there any reason to get the Orange edition? Well, one, give these guys a couple of bucks because they deserve it. Boy, do they deserve it. This is a scream. But yeah, it is. I think this version of the game is more fun and frolicsome. It's taken all the cool ideas from the previous ones. It's added in cool new tables. Kind of, I think it's got more resources in it, but it still keeps that light style. You can read the whole game just straight through because it's a joy to read. It's so funny, which is what I'm finding a lot of modern games don't do. They are a trial to read. Not this thing. Absolutely worth getting. There are some adventures and so on out for it, and you can run any of the old adventures as well. Get it. Go and get Kobolds Ate My Baby, or in an Adelaide accent, Kobolds Ate My Baby. It came from an off-coloured idea. It made a splendid off-coloured game. It's a riot. If you are at a convention somewhere, run Kobolds Ate My Baby. You will never regret leaving so much mayhem in the memory of everyone who went to the con. Anyway, I'll see you guys around the gaming table. Hope we all meet up and roll dice someday. Until then, cheers everyone. Bye. All hail King Torg.